I picked up this computer, along with many others, at my local transfer station. It was in the electronics recycling bin, and being me, I immediately saw it because of its red case. Now, the camera can't quite pick it up, just how deep of a red it is. It's making it a little bit brighter, and I don't think I can do anything about that. But it's a nice, deep, kind of a burgundy color. I really like it. And I don't know if it was designed or they just put a sticker, but it was, I don't know, it has a Newegg sticker on there. Don't know if I made it or not, but I don't know. I don't know what else to say about that. I picked it up because of its case, and before I get to the rest, I'd like to show you the motherboard that was originally in it. This motherboard is an Asus M3A78 motherboard, and unfortunately it doesn't quite work. It had some powers when you were to power it on when it was warm. For example, you could use it and turn it off, and then in 6 hours turn it back on and it would work. However, if you wanted to shut it down, unplug it and move it somewhere, somewhere else in the room, and then plug it back in 20 minutes later, it would not work. And I couldn't figure out why, and I still can't. So that's why it's sitting out here instead of being used. I would love to use this thing because it's got a quad-core 2.4 gigahertz AMD Phenom processor, I do believe. And it's pretty beastly, and it actually works. Oddly enough, I mean, this was just thrown in a trash can, basically. It's got a massive heatsink on it, which is also why I went for it in the trash can. It came with a 2 gig kit. It was actually in the packaging still, which was kind of weird. It was just sitting in the bottom of the case. So we have 2 gigs of DDR2 RAM, and there's another half of a gig right there that I put in myself to get a little bit more performance, even though it's not much. I had Windows XP, so I couldn't do anything too drastic. Another thing that drew me to this motherboard, besides the massive heatsink and the fancy color, was the 6 SATA headers it has on here. I have tested them, they all work, so that was a major plus for me. The downside being that the board doesn't really work when it's warm. The next thing was this PCIe slot, which had a 512 megabyte video card in it. That, I believe, I think that's why the computer was thrown away in the first place. Because the motherboard, or any other board that I put the graphics card into, they won't boot up with the card in there. And I thought that was a bit odd, so I even went to the extremity, I guess you'd call it, it's not really that big of an extremity, of baking the video card to try to make it work. I thought there was cracked solder joints or something. However, it still does not work, and nothing I can really do about that. So I took that card to my local computer shop, and if they can do anything with it, they'll just give it back to me. I doubt they can. They're probably just going to throw it out. I have a deal with them, though, so they do work, and they do quality work. That's where I get some of my parts. On the front of this case, now heading back over to the case, there was a sticker. I'm not sure what it said, but it's gone now. We have front panel audio in and out, 2 USB ports. Couldn't think of what that was. It did actually have a floppy drive in it, which was kind of surprising to me. A DVD-ROM drive with this fancy thing. Instead of, having all your blanks in here and pop out stupid things that I don't like, you've got this, which is just a slide up and down cover, I guess. I don't know, I like that. It's another reason why I like this case. In the front, I have installed a fan. That's my fan, to cool the hard drive, because the fan that was in the top of this thing is actually pretty noisy, and the case isn't exactly the most expensive thing. It's pretty cheaply made, so it vibrated a lot. I unplugged that because I don't have anything. I don't really need that fan if I've got that fan. I do have the other side to it, by the way. It's over here, but I took it off for the ease of video making. So let's go through what I've put in here, which is really not much. It's just the motherboard and the SATA drive. This is a 160 gig SATA drive that I use. I just put it in any new Workbench PC I get, just because it does what I need it to do. I put a shorter SATA cable on here. There were two data cables in here that went from here all the way around, up in the front, came under here and plugged in, and plugged into the hard drive where it would be. That's a little bit too long for what I really need. You know, I just kind of need to go right there and there, not all the way around the case. So I got rid of that thing. I've still got them. I didn't throw them out. Another thing that I enjoy about this case, even though I can't really use it because I don't have a connector for it, is this Thermaltake fan speed controller. It's pretty simple. It's just a knob that you turn. Nothing too interesting, but I like little things like that. I don't have one, but if I get something that can use this kind of connector, then that'll definitely go in there. In this motherboard that I've installed, I've got, I don't know what I did with the other stick. It did have 2 gigs of RAM. Athlon 64 processor. It's kind of new. It's not the greatest, but again, it does what I need it to do. This uses onboard video, so I do not have a graphics card. What else? Yep, these are USB connectors, and then there's a front panel audio in there somewhere. Really, that is about it. There isn't that much to say about this. I was just going to show you guys this rather interesting case I got with the rather awesome processor I got with it, and the heatsink, and the power supply, which I did not point out. It's an Antec power supply. It's 500 watts, and it seems to run pretty fine. So I got a couple parts out of this, even though the motherboard doesn't work perfectly. So that is it for this video. If you have any questions, leave them below, and thank you for watching.